Want to turn plain wood into something that looks like it's been weathered for decades? In this video, I'll show you how to create realistic weathered wood walls by adding nail holes, lifting some boards, and layering weather effects. But before we dive in, let me share a bit with you about the journey, how I got into this hobby. I've been in the Diorama building for a while now. It all really started for me back in 2018 when my girlfriend sent me to the Craftsman show in Albany, New York for my birthday. And I had the opportunity to spend 5 days just going to clinics, meeting hobbyists, watching people build. And I had told her when I got back from that show, if I wasn't interested, if it didn't light a fire under me, I'd sell all the fine scale kits and craftsman kits I had in storage. But I came back and I was like a different person, and started building dioramas from that point on. And I've been so happy. It's been an outlet for me. And when I got back into it, my goal was to learn or to master how to do scenery. You know, I see a lot of guys out there through the years that were really good at building structures, but their scenery just wasn't realistic. It just looked like a toy to me. So that was one of my goals. And I think I've, figured it out. So as you can see, the walls are just raw clapboard siding that's provided in the kit. And what we want to do is we want to age it. We want to lift the boards. We want to put nail holes in, show some boards are falling off. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put nail holes in. And I'm going to use a pounce wheel. You can get those at Micro Mark. They come in 3 different sizes, and a straight edge ruler. And we're just going to put rows in. We're not going to go very hard or deep into the wood. We just want to create an illusion. In HO scale, you're really not going to see nail holes. So the next step after you put in your nail holes is to start distressing the walls. And this is a pretty easy step. I use 2 different types of wire brushes. You can get these at Micro Mart. You can get it at Harbor Freight or any hobby shop. And I just go same direction and lightly scribe into it, give it some texture. So when you put your stains on, you'll see some variations in the wood. So now that we've distressed the walls with a wire brush, it's time to start lifting some boards and breaking some boards off. As you can see, I'm using a chisel blade and an X-Acto knife. And you got to be really careful with this. Just get under there slightly, make sure it's a new blade. Get under the clapboard and just push up. And it's a very subtle look. And once you put your stain on, it's really going to pop. This step of lifting the boards is going to give the illusion of age and wear, as if the boards have been exposed to the elements for years. So now that we've added the details, it's time to start weathering the walls. I start with a base layer of Hunterline driftwood stain to age the wood. This layer is critical because it sets the tone for the rest of the weathering. I do this before I brace my walls. It's just the way I do it. After I do the front of the walls, I'll turn the walls over and I'll stain the back, and that'll equal out the warping. And then I'll just put some weights down and let it dry. First coat of the first layer with the driftwood stain. And that's going to get into those crevices of the lifted boards and the nail holes. And I put it on, and I don't really worry about the wood warping. I'm going to do the other side. After everything's dry, that's when I typically do my bracing. There's other guys out there that do their bracing first, and then put their stain. It's just personal preference, that's all. And you can see how it got under there and how it's getting into the nail holes. Then I come around back and I put a coat of stain on the back just to even out the warpage. A lot of walls on this kit, so this will be fun. Just trying to create layers, that's it. This is a big wall, for sure. So now that we've laid our first layer of stain down, the Hunterline driftwood, we're going to go back over all the walls with Hunterline Cordovan brown. And we're just going to randomly put it on. There's no right or wrong way to do this. And this is really the next step to make everything start popping. I'm getting under the boards. Make sure you lift your boards before you put the second layer of stain on. So now we're at the stage where we're going to put the color of the wall. On the walls, this kit requires two different colors. We're going to do the same thing that the kit promo looked like, which was a reddish on the top and a white on the bottom. So we're going to do the red now, and I'm going to be using Heritage Brick from Americana. And once again, we're just going to be dry brushing this on. And you can scrub it in while you're dry brushing it. You just don't want to cover the whole wall. Trying to get that faded paint effect, worn paint. It's been in the elements for a while. Like I said, it's multiple layers that we're going after. So now we're going to put the final color on the bottom, which is going to be Vintage White from Folk Art. And I'm going to dry brush this color on. Just want that faded paint peeling effect. Doesn't take much to get the effect. This is the next to last step that we'll be doing to weather these walls. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take the walls. They've been painted, the color that we're going to go for the clapboard. And I want to put a oil wash on, and I'm going to use this oil from Abteilung 502. It's a sepia color. And all I do is I just take one of these jars, mix some odorless thinner in there with some of the oil, and I give it a wash. And this is really going to age the wood. And I go pretty heavy with it. Goes on pretty dark, but when it dries, it'll lighten up. I go over all the wood with it. And as you can see, it really weathers the white. If you put too much on, just go back with your brush and wick it off. And the other thing I like about the oils is it will get into the nail holes and will not clog them up like an alcohol stain will when you get to this final point. So you're going to get a slight hint of nail holes. Remember, we're just trying to create an illusion. So now we're basically going to do the same steps on painting the windows and the doors. They've all been primed with camouflage color from Rust-Oleum. And now we're going to take the chalk paint, color Castle again, and just dry brush over this. I'm just stippling it on. And like I said, this is just the layers we do. And these windows are going to be white. So once this dries, I can go back and I'll stipple on the vintage white color for the windows and doors. So the Castle color has dried. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put our vintage white on top, and we're going to do the same process, stippling it on. And I would encourage you, just save all your old brushes. They're perfect for this step. You just randomly go over it. And then what we're going to do when this is all dry, we're going to give it an oil wash of this sepia. Same approach that we took on the walls, and that's just going to pull everything together. So now we're at the last part of weathering the windows. We're going to give it the sepia wash with the sepia oil. So I'm going to demonstrate how I do that. And we're going to put it on pretty thick. You want it to get into the crevices. And just let it flow. If you put on too much, you can just take your brush and wick it off. So we're going to let that dry now. So here's what the windows and doors look like after I've given it that oil wash. As you can see, like in here, it's just giving it some depth, some worn weathered look that we're after. Here's a cool right there. I like that look right there. And here's the final product. What started out as just laser cut clapboard walls have now been transformed into realistic weathered walls. If you found this video helpful, please leave a comment and let me know what you'd like to see next. Don't forget to subscribe for more tips and techniques.